Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host with the biggest nose, Jay-Z Courtside. Nice to meet y'all. This is our very first podcast ever. I want to give y'all a little bit of a background on myself before we get into the actual meat of this podcast. My name is Joe. You can call me Jay-Z, Joe, Big Nose, whatever y'all want. Very happy to see y'all click onto here. We are posting these podcasts on YouTube, on Spotify, and soon to Apple as well. They're a little bit trickier with getting approval to post podcasts and whatnot, but very nice to meet you guys. If you are watching on YouTube, there is a face cam on. There'll be visuals and whatnot. So just bear with me because, as I said, this is our very first solo podcast. A little bit of a background on myself. I've been a streamer / content creator for the last 5 years now. I primarily stream on Twitch. The Twitch URL, the main YouTube channel URL, Discord, all the links will be down below. So feel free to join any of those, follow any of those. My main alias online has been changed recently. It was Jay-Z Kanjis for the last 5 years. If you guys are wondering what it is I was doing back then, it was mainly gaming. So from, Call of Duty, Battlefield, basically any game that you've probably played, I played on stream for the last 5 years, and I've just grown tired of the whole gaming industry. And something that I've never grown tired of is basketball. So if you guys want to follow or subscribe to our main YouTube channel that we started just 5 months ago, we basically do documentaries on individual players, teams, and eras. That link will be down below. My main alias is Jay-Z Uncut now. Again, that's Jay-Z Uncut. All the links will be down below. Again, shout out to wherever you're listening. This will be posted on Apple soon, but for now, it's just YouTube and Spotify. Get all the laundry list out of the way. You guys can get to know me more as we talk through this podcast and all the future episodes. So, hey, consider yourself part of Early Gang. You guys are here right away. I'm pretty comfortable with speaking in front of the camera now. I mean, I've been doing it live for over 5 years. I was prolific with short form content, but 5 months ago, I started really learning how to do long form documentaries, and hence why that channel has been doing incredibly well so far. So yeah, if you want to follow there, Twitter, everything will be down below. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers all the new things that you guys need to know about me. Like I said, I am a Pistons fan. I don't think I said that yet. Bear with me. The production of these podcasts will only improve. So I got some nice visuals that we're going to be popping up throughout the segments. But each podcast will be better and better. And what to expect with this podcast channel is pretty simple. I'm going to be posting episodes sporadically over the next 55 days until the NBA season begins. But once the season actually starts, we're going to be doing podcasts Monday through Friday, and we're going to be doing them live as well on YouTube. So again, if you are listening on Apple or Spotify and you want to be involved with the chat and the community that we've been building for the last few years, be sure to go sub to the YouTube, join the Discord if you want to talk to me one-on-one and with the rest of my community. We'll be live streaming it everywhere. We'll be live streaming it on TikTok, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Kick, everywhere. Everywhere you're able to live stream, we will be live. And that's going to be Monday through Friday. I'm still trying to decide on the start time, probably 9 or 10 a.m. Eastern, bright and early, so you can listen to me at work or on the way to work, or probably not at school. You should focus on school. Anyways, guys, we are 4 minutes into this podcast, and I think that's enough off the laundry list. So today's episode, we are going to be doing predictions. You guys saw the title. You guys saw the thumbnail if you're on YouTube. I'm going to be looking at all of the over and under win percentages that MGM, the casino, has posted. And these are sort of what everybody judges and makes their guesses on for the following seasons. So we're going to be going through each and every team in this one podcast. So it might drag a little bit longer than normal, but throughout the summer, we're going to be doing podcasts where I rank the last 25 best MVPs, the last 25 best championships, just anything, we're going to be doing this summer until the NBA season kicks off. We're also going to be doing a podcast idea that I love. Shout out to No Dunks. Previously, they were named the starters, and before that, they were the Basketball Jones. They've been doing podcasts for the last 20 years, and I've been a long time listener of them. They did a segment where they said one optimistic thing about each and every team going into the next season. That's probably going to be the next episode. So again, if you are listening on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, be sure to hit that follow/subscribe button so you don't miss a single episode. All right. I think that's everything. Not bad, right? First ever podcast, first ever time recording this. I'd say let's just get right into it. And like I said, if there are some things that you notice that are wrong with it, be sure to point them out. This is my very first episode, so bear with me. I think I've been preparing this podcast for a couple weeks now, so it's not going to be amateurish by any means. So let's start with our very first team. We're going alphabetical A to Z, and let's get into it. Up first, we have the Atlanta Hawks. I'm sure you guys see that graphic on the YouTube. It looks phenomenal. So let's start with the Atlanta Hawks. I'm going to be going over, just so you all know the structure, how many wins this team won last year, how many wins they're expected to win next year, and how many games they think that they're going to win more. I'm going to talk about the additions to the team. I'm going to talk about the departures to the team, and that includes like injuries, trades, free agency, just anything. And in case you guys are wondering, I am a super Pistons fan. I've been a super fan since 2004, 2005. I am 27 years old, so if you guys want to know my extent of my basketball knowledge, again, my main YouTube channel is JZ Uncut. The link will be down below. So let's get into it. The Atlanta Hawks won 40 games last year. Man, the Hawks were a very, very confusing team to me, and I feel like they didn't know what they were capable of last year either. They're projected to win 47 and a half games next season. That is a 7.5 jump as far as wins. Now let's talk about why that is. I'm going to talk about last season and next season and what to expect. So obviously Atlanta made a big move trading for Kristaps Porzingis from the Boston Celtics. They also added Nickeil Alexander-Walker from the Minnesota Timberwolves in a sign and trade. They also got Luke Kennard from the Grizzlies. They signed him to, I believe, a 1-year deal. And then in Fali Dante, they signed him and Aza Newell from draft rights. Now, who did the Hawks lose? Because right there, those are great additions. So let's go over who they lost. They lost Clint Capella to the Rockets. That's honestly not that big of a loss. I'll explain why. Karis LeVert to my Detroit Pistons. Terrence Mann in a 3-team trade. Larry Nance Jr. went to the Cavaliers, and Gorgie Niang in a 3-team trade. That dude has been traded. I've lost count over the last 2 or 3 years. Great role player. So every team could use him. Now let's talk about why I'm really confused and torn up about the Atlanta Hawks. Let me explain. Last year, when Jalen Johnson went out due to injury, they were looking good. And then when he went down, it seems as though like Trae Young was playing extremely passive for the entire year. Trae Young, obviously a prolific scorer. He proved last year that his passing has just increased tenfold as well. So the Atlanta Hawks, on paper, last year, it didn't make that much sense. They also traded DeAndre Hunter to the Cavs in a mid-season deal. So from what I thought, they were blowing it up. I think we all thought Trae Young was going to he was gone this offseason. I thought he was gone. Turns out the Hawks said, we got one more in us. Let's try it one last time. And I genuinely believe this is the final season Trae Young will be an Atlanta Hawk if they don't make it into the playoffs again. Genuinely. It's weird. You know, this team made it deep into the playoffs just a few years ago, but they haven't done anything since. They've been a consistent play-in team for the last couple of years, as well as the Chicago Bulls and Miami Heat, but we'll talk about them later. So what is with the 7.5 jump as far as wins go? Well, it's quite simple. They added Porzingis, they added Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and Luke Kennard. Those are the three highlights of their summer. They also get Jalen Johnson back. Now, I think that's a bigger acquisition, even though they didn't have to trade or sign him. He's just coming off of an injury. I think that's a bigger move than Kristaps and Nickeil. My issue with the Kristaps Porzingis trade is you're not sure what you're quite going to get with Kristaps. Injury prone his entire career. Great player, can show that he can contribute to a championship team. He won it with Boston just 2 years ago. But again, they were going through the entire playoff tree without him. I believe he returned into the conference finals of that year they won. And then last year, he was going through all those sicknesses that he was in and out of the lineup for almost the entire second half of the season. So Kristaps, I believe, will be the X factor of this team next year. If Kristaps is in, if he's healthy, if he's willing to play, we don't know what's really going on behind the scenes with him. The Celtics would not disclose anything. And I think that's because partially the reason being is after Jason Tatum went down, they just weren't mentioning Kristaps, why he wasn't playing as much, why he was out. And I think it's because they planned on having him on the trade block the following year. And here he is traded. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a great signing for the Hawks. He can do well on any team. On any team. I really wanted him in Detroit. I felt like he would be a great backup. If not, slide Asar down to the 4. And we're not talking about the Pistons right now. NAW is a great player. And I think he's only going to improve. I think he's going to be a great role player for a long time. I believe his shot improved last year as well. So that's only going to help the Atlanta Hawks. Now, how can I talk about the Hawks without mentioning Dyson Daniels? This kid, you wouldn't have expected this when he was on the Pelicans. But going to the Hawks has just made an exponential leap defensively. And I think he's going to be, I feel like Amen Thompson and Asar Thompson get so much gas and so much praise because they're younger. They look like they're going to be prolific offensively. They've shown flashes. Dyson Daniels showed a lot of flashes last year. And I feel like most people are talking about his steals and his defensive prowess. But his offensive game was improving throughout the year. Yes, he doesn't have a consistent jump shot. Yes, he fears driving into the lane. But there were a lot of highlights last year that I saw that I think Dyson Daniels, Trae Young, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Kristaps Porzingis, Jalen Johnson, this could be a great team next year. So as far as over or under 47.5 wins, if healthy, I could see them making that leap. I could see them winning more than 47 games. I really could. Unfortunately, I just don't believe they can stay healthy. I don't know. So in my professionally unprofessional opinion, I take the under on the Atlanta Hawks getting 47.5 wins. I think they're right around that 43 to 45 range. I just cannot commit to them being healthy. So that's the format. I probably should have mentioned that this is going to be an over-under. I think the Hawks are going to be a playoff team because the East is so weak next year. I just don't think they're ready to make that big of a leap. For Trae Young and Atlanta's sake, I hope they do. I'm really rooting for them. I hope they make that leap. I don't want to see another franchise lose their star that they drafted years back. So I do hope for Atlanta fans that they will improve. Now that you guys understand the format that we're doing, let's move on to our very next team, which is the Boston Celtics. Look at that graphic. That's clean, right? The Boston Celtics, I don't have a whole lot to say about this team. They won 61 games last year. They were coming off of a championship. They're predicted to win 42.5. Now, somebody that's not closely following the NBA is probably wondering why the 18.5 game drop. Why is that? They lost Jason Tatum to an Achilles injury. Now, that is just the worst injury that you can imagine having on an NBA player, something that affects their explosiveness. We saw so many great talents be torn down because of an Achilles injury. You know, you can make note of players who recovered nicely. I think the main one is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant came off of an Achilles. We got a few people coming off an Achilles injury next season. We'll talk about them later. Let's talk about the additions of the Boston Celtics before we dive deeper. They got Anthony Simons. And as far as this podcast goes, it's I think it's going to be uploaded on August 28th. So as of now, he is still on the roster, even though they might trade him. They got Chris Boucher in a signing. They also got Luke Garza and Josh Minott and RJ Lewis Jr. Now, these are mostly cap fillers. Now, the key people that they lost. They traded Drew Holiday for Anthony Simons to the Blazers. They traded Kristaps Porzingis to the Hawks. They lost Luke Kornet to the Spurs, which I think is a huge loss. They also traded Gorgie Niang. I don't think he was... Yeah, I think they just acquired him for this trade. J.D. Davison, they waived him. And then Jason Tatum, of course, ruptured his right Achilles in May in the playoffs. He's going to miss all of next year. I think he should miss all of next year. I don't think he should rush this back. So as far as the Celtics go, their team is going to look very awkward. I believe Peyton Pritchard's going to be the starting point guard now that they traded Drew. I think Jaylen Brown could have a huge year. I hope he does for his sake. Let's see what Jaylen Brown looks like as the number one option. This will be the first time that Jaylen Brown has really had that role to be the number one option. I'm curious. Will he improve his ball handling? Will he improve his shot creating? And even his playmaking, which is already above average, I'd like to know. People don't give Jaylen Brown enough credit for his playmaking ability. Their team is going to look awkward. And I'm not quite sure. Like, is Peyton Pritchard going to be the starting point guard and then Derek White at the 2 and Jaylen Brown at the 3? I'm pretty confident that's what they're going to do. They also haven't re-signed Al Horford. So that's why he is not mentioned here. I don't know where Al Horford's going to go. I feel like he's been talking to a lot of teams. I think Al is waiting to see what the Celtics do with Anthony Simons to see like how much money they could offer him and whatnot. So, man, we'll see. I feel for the Celtics fans. I feel for y'all Beam Boys. I think it's going to be a fun year. You guys are still expected to win 42.5. Whether that's the over or the under, I'm going to go the under. That's 2 teams already, 2 in a row where I've picked the under. I'll tell you why. They're 1 injury away from shutting it all down. Obviously, this is a gap year. They're treating it like a gap year. Peyton Pritchard said it's not a gap year, but it's a gap year. I think this team is just going to go full balls to the wall and try everything. But let's say, I hope this doesn't happen. I don't want to manifest any of it. Let's say Derek White gets hurt. Let's say he tweaks his ankle. He's out for a couple of weeks. Let's say Jaylen Brown tweaks his ankle for a couple of weeks. Do you expect them to bring them back into what? Make a run at the play-in? I don't see that happening. So me personally, I think I'm going to take the under on 42.5 wins. Again, I could see them getting more than this. But me personally, I'm going to pick the under. I just don't think that they have what it takes to compete with other teams in the East, like the Knicks, the Pistons, the Magic. So for that reason, I am taking the under on 42.5 wins. I wish y'all well. I hope Jason Tatum heals well. And again, they could surprise all of us. The East is weak. They could surprise us all. Now, let's move on to our next team, the Brooklyn Nets. Now, this one, if you thought I didn't have much to say about the Celtics, I got even less to say about the Brooklyn Nets. They won 26 wins last year. Part of the reason was because of Dennis Schroeder carrying their team early in the season. But they are predicted to win 20.5. That's right, 20.5. They're predicting their wins to go down by 5.5. Their top additions are Michael Porter Jr., who they traded Cam Johnson for to the Nuggets, Terrence Mann in a 3-team trade. They got Haywood Highsmith in a trade. And they got Day'Ron Sharpe. They re-signed him, and Zaire Williams re-signed. Top 5 departures. Obviously, Cam Johnson to the Nuggets, D'Angelo Russell to the Mavericks, and Trendon Watford to the 76ers. Now, the Nets, we know what they're trying to do. I feel like the Nets are going to be a team that you really avoid watching unless they're against your team and you just need to be encouraged that your team is back by beating the Nets. I feel like this is going to be the Cam Johnson, Cam Thomas, and Michael Porter show. I think they're going to re-sign Cam Thomas. If they don't, I'll be mildly surprised. I think he wants way more money than they're willing to offer him. Um, I think I said Cam Johnson show when he's gone. He's on the Nuggets. I think it's going to be the Cam Thomas and Michael Porter Jr. show. I think MPJ, this is his last year where you decide, is he a level of player to be on a championship team? Obviously, he won it with the Nuggets. But since then, that was 3 years ago. Since then, Michael Porter Jr. has not shown anything that I think values him at a championship piece. Like, if you're going to tell me that he's off the bench, sure, jack up a bunch of shots, but his contract is way too expensive to be off the bench on a great team. No team can afford that anymore. So, MPJ, this year, buddy, this is so important for you to succeed. This year is everything. I don't think he wants to be in Brooklyn. I don't think anybody really wants to be in Brooklyn right now, respectfully. I hope for Nets fans, this 20.5 win projection is accurate. I'm going to go under. I don't see any defense on this team with Nick Claxton. I just don't. I don't see it. I don't see how this team can outscore any offensive team either. I don't see them outscoring the Knicks. I don't see them outscoring the Pistons. I just don't see it. So for that, I'm taking the under on 20.5 wins. My apologies to Nets fans. It's just, it's the honest truth, man. Hopefully for the next podcast, when I say one optimistic thing, I can come up with an optimistic thing for you guys. Young team. You guys are young. I'll give you all that. Now, let's move on to another team. The Charlotte Hornets. Let me just say this. I'm from Metro Detroit. I'm from the suburbs of Detroit. I lived there for 26 years. My fiance is attending Duke for a PhD program, so we moved down to North Carolina. So I was really disappointed that the Pistons decided to be good again when I left. The Lions decided to be good again when I left. And now I move into a state with one of the worst football teams being the Panthers and one of the worst basketball teams being the Hornets. They won 19 games last year. They're predicted to win 26.5. That is a 7.5 win jump. Do you guys understand how disappointing that is for a franchise? Now, did they win 19 games? Hornets wins last season. Did they win? I think they won. Did they win? According to, sorry about this. I'm looking it up right now. I just have to see. There's no way it was. They won 19 games. Oh my. Okay, just looked it up. Yeah, they won 19. My apologies. I didn't believe this. I did not believe that the Hornets won. Okay, let's get into it. They got Pat Connaughton in a trade. They signed Spencer Dinwiddie. They also signed Mason Plumlee and obtained Colin Sexton because they need another point guard. Why would they? Of course, they need more point guards. They lost Vasily Micic to the Bucks. They lost Yusuf Nurkic, which they shouldn't really care, and they waived Josh Okogie and Mark Williams to the Suns. Now, wow, they're predicted to win 26.5, and they won 19 last year. They are saying with LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller healthy that they can only win 26.5. Now, if that doesn't tell you that your team is unstable at this point, I don't know what does. They went and got 2 more point guards for some reason in Colin Sexton and Spencer Dinwiddie, probably for insurance because they know LaMelo Ball is going to go out with injury. I hope this year, if there's any team that's going to skyrocket, last year was the Pistons. If there's a team that makes the jump, I hope it's the Charlotte Hornets. Not just because I'm less than 2 hours away from the arena so that I can attend games and be excited about those games. I just feel for Hornets fans. They just won in the summer league. They just won the whole summer league. That is the first award the Charlotte Hornets have ever won in franchise history. I am not making that up. Look it up. I hope LaMelo Ball can be healthy. I hope Brandon Miller can be healthy. Other than that, outside of those two, what more does this team have going for them? I mean, please, let me know in the comments. Let me know. I just don't see I'm lacking optimism for this team. I hope they can win more than 26 and a half. You know what? I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take the over on 26 and a half. That is the first team I've taken the over on so far. I'm banking on LaMelo playing more games. I'm banking on Brandon Miller playing more games. He showed a lot of flashes of offensive firepower. LaMelo, we know he treats every game like an AAU game, which for the kids, if you're a kid listening, you guys love LaMelo Ball. The kids love LaMelo. I'm 27. LaMelo's game is nice for a guy at the LA Fitness. But for the NBA, can he prove that he's a winner? We haven't seen it yet. Cade Cunningham made that jump. Maybe LaMelo Ball can make that jump. We'll see. We will see. I'm really hoping for success with this team. Genuinely. And I will take the over. They won 19 last year because of all those injuries. I will take the over on 26 and a half games. Good luck to my Charlotte team. Good luck to the Hornets. Good luck to all you Hornets fans. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about this team. Let's move on to the next, which is the Chicago Bulls. They won 39 games last year, made the play-in like they do every year. And they are projected to win 32 and a half. That is a -6.5 drop. Their biggest additions are Isaac Okoro from a trade. They also re-signed Trey Jones. Now, they lost Lonzo Ball to the Cavaliers. They traded him. And they also got Rocco Zikariski. Draft rights. They lost him. Bulls fans, you guys still haven't re-signed Josh Giddey. I'm glad. You know, I think restricted free agents is going to be a thing of the past here in a couple of years with this new CBA and whatnot. I think with rookies, on their rookie deals, they are going to either just, you have to extend these players at this point. You have to extend them. Because otherwise they fall into restricted free agency. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there have only been 2 or 3 restricted free agents this offseason. You have Kuminga for the Warriors, who still hasn't signed, and you have Josh Giddey. I might be forgetting 1 or 2 here. But those guys are the ones that are in all the headlines. Josh Giddey obviously had his controversies in the past. But aside from that, he's a great basketball player. But is he your leading point guard? He drops triple doubles, but is he your leading point guard? Can he get you more wins? MGM seems to think that he can't. We'll see if they end up re-signing him. He wants a bigger deal. He wants a 4-year deal, and I heard the Bulls are only willing to offer 2 or 3. So we'll see what happens with them. I think that 32.5 projection is semi-accurate. I think the Bulls always manage to make the play-in. But on a team that's led by Josh Giddey, Patrick Williams, and they lost Lonzo Ball, who basically hasn't been healthy in the last 5 years anyways, I don't see how they can win 32.5. I really want to take the over just because the Bulls always make the play-in. I can't do it. Something inside me just says they can't do it either. So I have the under on the Chicago Bulls on not winning 32.5. And if I'm going to be wrong on any of these guys, I think this is the one that I could be wrong on. The Bulls always find a way to pack that arena, be a global franchise in the NBA, around the world. They're going to sell tickets. And that's all the owners over there care about, unfortunately. Oh, yeah. How could I forget? They also have Vucci, baby. They also have Vucevic, who they should have traded like 3 years ago. But I digress. That is all I have on the Chicago Bulls. I am going to take the under on 32.5 wins. But up next, we have a very polarizing team here, folks. Very polarizing. There's the Cleveland Cavaliers. As we all know, they won 64 games last year. 64. And they lost to the Indiana Pacers in the playoffs. They're projected to win 56.5. That is a drop by 7.5. And I think that's a good guess, and I'll explain why. They gained Lonzo Ball. They got him from Chicago. They also signed Larry Nance Jr. Welcome back. They lost Isaac Okoro to the Bulls. They lost Ty Jerome to the Grizzlies. They lost Karis LeVert to the Pistons, of course, because he was traded midseason. Darius Garland, toe injury. He's expected until at least November 1st from reports. And of course, you know it, you hear it every single year. Lonzo Ball is probable for the start of the season. Why does that surprise any of us? It shouldn't. The Cleveland Cavaliers have a very confusing team. I want to dive a little deeper into them than we have in the past couple teams, just because the East is limited. So the Cavs very well could be making a trip to the finals next year. With your team led by Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, let's just say Donovan Mitchell, can he be your one? He's led multiple teams deep into the playoffs, the Jazz, and now the Cavs. But this time, I think he's got a great number two. And I think his number two, I'm always going to root against my division rivals as a Pistons fan. But Homer fan aside, Evan Mobley needs to jump to that one spot. Not point guard. He needs to become their number one. Excuse me, I had to take a sip of water. Being a solo podcast host, I want to make sure that there's as little gaps as possible, but I also don't want to just talk to talk. I want to make sure everything I say has value. Hope you guys are enjoying. If you are, be sure to drop a like. Evan Mobley needs to take that next big leap. Obviously, big defensive player, offensive player. He's just improving each year. I think Evan Mobley needs to become that one. Now, Donovan Mitchell, sure, he can always be your closer. He's shown it in the past. He is incredible at closing out games, especially he's a big playoff performer. My fear for this team is that they just keep rolling with Donovan Mitchell being their number one option, and they flame out just like they did last year. They said they were tired, which is probably the case. They were trying extremely hard during the regular season, and as we've seen in the past, most of these teams that sweat so hard in the regular season succumb to injury, succumb to fatigue. So I'm hoping for the Cleveland Cavs. If I were a Cavs fan, my buddy's a big Cavs fan, I hope Evan Mobley can make that next big leap. My biggest concern with this team is not Evan Mobley's going to improve. Donovan Mitchell's going to improve. Darius Garland, I hope for their sake, is going to improve. But my biggest question mark for this team is Jarrett Allen. How much better can Jarrett Allen get? This is peak Jarrett Allen. Great defensive player. He reads double teams very, very well. Great lob threat. This is his ceiling, though, right? I love Jarrett Allen. He's seems like a real genuine dude. Unfortunately for him, I just don't see him. I think this is his role, man. I think this is his role. I think you pluck Jarrett Allen, put him on the Lakers, put him on a team that needs a rim runner. I don't want to talk about the Lakers right now, but how good would Jarrett Allen be around the LeBron James, around the Luka Doncic? I think Jarrett Allen is going to be the one piece that you could see potentially moved in the midseason. I don't think the Cavs have the guts to trade Darius Garland. Not yet. Not yet. It depends how they do this year. I think they need to go all in. This is their year. If they can't get it done this year, you need to reconstruct something. I don't know how you can trade Donovan Mitchell. You cannot trade Evan Mobley. I can call him untouchable, but after we just saw Luka Doncic get traded, anything's possible. So overall, we'll see what happens with the Cavs. I got them over 56.5 games. Even though they expected them to drop by 7.5, I got them over. The East is weaker. And they're going to have more chemistry, hopefully better health. It won't surprise me if they start sitting out their stars to get them ready for the playoffs. I think that'll probably be the good move. And if they do, then obviously my prediction will be wrong. But for the sake of being honest with myself, I have them on the over on 56.5 games. I'm rooting for the Cavs. I hope they do well. I want to see Evan Mobley take that next big leap, talking like top 10 MVP candidates. I think he's capable of that. Y'all can let me know, though. Also, as we move on to our next team, I told you this is going to be a long podcast, so I appreciate anybody that's sticking through. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if there's some things that you want me to change in how I speak. Let me know if there's things I can improve on. All right, so our next team are the Dallas Mavericks. And I really do hope people are still listening and listening to the end, because this is going to be a long one, man. This is going to be a long one. So if you're still listening, let me know that, hey, you're still listening in the comment section. Or let me know in the Discord. Like I said, the link will be down below. Up next, the Dallas Mavericks. Now, this one is tough. They won 39 games last year. They made one of the biggest trades in NBA history. They are predicted to win 39 and a half, according to MGM. They expected them to win just half a game more. They got D'Angelo Russell. Kyrie Irving was extended. And Dante Exum also re-signed, who's been great for them. Now, their key departures are Spencer Dinwiddie, Kyrie Irving, because of his torn ACL. And I think the team has came out and said that he's expected to return around January at best. My guess is he only returns if the Mavs are actually showing that they could be that team. The West is just tougher. It's getting tougher and tougher each year. I don't have a whole lot to say about the Mavericks other than Cooper Flagg, Anthony Davis, Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, and now D'Angelo Russell, hopefully to steer the ship in the right direction. He's going to be the starting point guard. I think this team's going to be fun to watch. I think they're going to be a major league pass team for me. I'm going to be checking in on the Mavs a lot. One, because I love Anthony Davis. Two, I got to see Cooper Flagg. And I hope, for their sake, this doesn't blow up in their face. I feel for Mavs fans to go from the finals 2 years ago to now predicted to miss the play-in in the West. 39 would, that would miss the play-in, judging by last season. I'm rooting for them. The fans deserve it. Obviously, Nico Harrison did a trade that I don't think any GM in the entire NBA would do. But that's that. So, I'm excited to see Cooper Flagg. I'm excited to see Anthony Davis. I feel like there's going to be a log jam down low with Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford. I honestly thought they would get rid of Daniel Gafford, but they didn't. They're just rolling with these three big men, and that's okay. I think their team's going to be very fun to watch. So as far as like a watchability, I got the Mavs up there, probably in my top 5 most watched teams next year. We'll see how many teams I say about that, but yeah, I think I'm going to take the over. I'm going to bank on Cooper Flagg proving that he belongs in the NBA immediately. I'm going to bank on Anthony Davis turning back the clock to his Pelicans days. I'm going to bank on D'Angelo Russell having the best season of his career in years. If D'Angelo Russell can maintain that ship until Kyrie gets back, this is a team you do not want to face in the playoffs. Obviously, Anthony Davis always has his injury concerns. But if they can manage to stay healthy and just stay the course, I could see them making some serious noise in the playoffs next year. Even though they have them at 39.5, I'm going to take the over. I'm going to bank on everybody being healthy. I'm going to bank on Kyrie Irving coming early in the next season, like January, February. I'm going to take the over. The Mavs fans have a lot to be excited about. You guys got Cooper Flagg, man. Y'all are good. Unless Nico Harrison decides to trade him to the Pistons for Marcus Sasser or another. So that's my guess. I think the Mavs on the over at 39.5. Up next, we have the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets. They won 50 games last year. They're predicted to win 53.5. That's a 3.5 increase. They acquired Cam Johnson, obviously for Michael Porter Jr., who is gone. They acquired Jonas Valanciunas. I want to talk about him briefly. And they also got back former champion with the same team, Bruce Brown. And they also signed Tim Hardaway Jr. to, I think, a $2 million deal from the Pistons. They signed him. They obviously lost Michael Porter for Cam Johnson, and they lost Dario Saric, who wasn't playing. Talk about a player that fell off, man. Crazy. I remember watching Saric go ballistic for the 76ers. I honestly thought Saric was going to be in the league for a long time, but now he's just a journeyman. Rooting for him, though. Rooting for him. Now, I want to talk about, obviously, the biggest highlight of their offseason, and that's acquiring Cam Johnson. Am I wrong to say Cam Johnson and MPJ are basically the same player? I think Cam Johnson has better basketball IQ. I think this is going to be a big year for him. Obviously, he played with the Suns a few years back. They made it to the finals. I think Cam Johnson's a great player. I think he's got not great basketball IQ, but better than MPJ. I think he's going to be a great addition to surround Jokic. Jokic makes everybody better. And I think if Cam Johnson can just tap into his scoring ability that we know he's capable of, why not? Why not? You got the best player in the world in Jokic. You got a bunch of great players around him with Jamal Murray, Cam Johnson now, Aaron Gordon coming off an injury. I'm excited for Nuggets. I'm excited for their fans. Obviously, they got Jonas Valanciunas. I know he was considering going and playing in Greece. In case you don't know, he signed the contract with the Nuggets. So the Nuggets finally have a backup big. They finally have a backup big. Not DeAndre Jordan. With all due respect, DeAndre Jordan, you know, those 7 or 8 minutes that they play you to rest Jokic, it's not enough. They got Jonas Valanciunas. If you guys don't know Valanciunas, man, this dude has been in the league. I believe he was drafted same year as Andre Drummond. So I think if I were a betting man, he's 32. Maybe 33 at the oldest. Valanciunas is a beast. He's a tank, has a great post game, grabs boards, big body, able veteran. Love Valanciunas. Ever since he was on the Toronto Raptors, loved playing against him. Loved, obviously not me playing against him, but seeing Andre Drummond get cooked by him on occasion. He never did well against fundamental big men. Brook Lopez always ate Andre Drummond. I'm getting off topic. Shout out Jonas Valanciunas. He instead stayed with the Nuggets, and I think he's going to be a great, great, great backup to Jokic. This team, I could see them seriously winning it all next year. I think they look like one of the strongest teams out west. Obviously, I'm not going to pick them. I think there's a couple tiers out west that I want to talk about. We'll get deeper into it when we get to the rest of the teams, but out west, I think you got the Thunder in their own realm. I think the Thunder are in their own realm at the top of the top. And then I think in tier 2, you got the Nuggets. I think you have the Rockets. I think after acquiring Kevin Durant, and man, we'll talk about their offseason because they went nuts. But I think that's how it goes for me. I think I have the Thunder in their own, and then like the Nuggets in the next tier with the Rockets next to them. And then maybe the next tier is like the Clippers and Lakers. But I think Denver could win more than 53.5. I think they could. But I also think that they might just mail it in for the regular season. I think they're at that point now in their careers where let's just make it into the playoffs and then, you know, let's coast, win games, lose close ones, make the playoffs. Who needs home court? I think that's their mentality. I am going to take the under on 53.5. I could very well see them win 52 or 51. They took the champions to 7 games, guys. Let's not forget that. That series was incredible. They took the Thunder to 7 games. Could have swung either way. So I got the Nuggets winning under 53. I think they're going to be right at that 51-52 mark. I think these championship teams just sort of coast. Oh, I didn't talk about Bruce Brown. A lot of people are up on Bruce Brown. Obviously, the Pistons drafted him way back when. He won in 2023. He got his contract, and he hasn't improved. He's been bouncing around team to team to team to team. I'm rooting for him. Always rooting for former Pistons. I'm rooting for him, but people like to say that he's going to go crazy again, but that was 3 years ago. A lot changes in 3 years. We'll see what happens. For his sake, hopefully he can come off the bench again and give that same spark plug that Westbrook was giving them. Obviously, I didn't have Westbrook in the departures because he's still a free agent, so we don't know where he's going to go. I don't think the Nuggets need him anymore, though. I think Bruce Brown could be that replacement. I think he could show flashes of what he did in 2023 again. Although, I don't know if you guys remember, but in 2023, he shot the lights out from deep in the playoffs. I genuinely believe that Bruce Brown was shooting in the mid 40% from deep. So, do with that what you will. Up next, I have none other than the Detroit Pistons. Sorry, I had to grab some more water. Damn, solo podcasting is not that easy. You always got to like fill these gaps somehow, you know? My Detroit Pistons. Now, I can make a podcast just talking about them entirely. I'm not going to do that. The Pistons won 44 games last year. They're predicted to win 45 and a half. MGM has them going up a game and a half. Okay. Their top additions. Duncan Robinson, we acquired him in a sign and trade. Karis LeVert, we acquired him. And Javonte Green. We just signed him, I think, last week. He's probably going to be an insurance piece just in case somebody goes down. Now, our biggest departures. Simone Fontecchio. I got to repeat this. Simone Fontecchio. Dennis Schroeder to the Kings, and Lindy Waters III to the Spurs, and then obviously right now, Malik Beasley with his gambling investigation. I want to go through all of these. So they have us winning 45 and a half. I say us. They have the Pistons winning 45 and a half. I may as well add into the additions Jaden Ivey. I may as well add him to the additions because we lost Jaden Ivey right when the team started to actually get rolling in December. I think he went down with injury on January 1st, but we were on a West Coast road trip when we had won 3 games in a row, and then Jaden Ivey went down. Jaden Ivey was playing out of his freaking mind. I believe he was averaging 18 points per game. He tweaked his ankle. So, like, he was showing some inconsistent flashes and then tweaked his ankle and then came back. And then all of a sudden, the Pistons were a brand new team. He was being the number 2 to Cade Cunningham. He was that guy. He was shooting 43% from deep. Somebody that they said can only drive to the hoop at an inefficient rate. He was driving at a more efficient rate. He was shooting threes at a more efficient rate. He was playmaking at a more efficient rate. So gaining Jaden Ivey back alone is a huge addition. Duncan Robinson, proven shooter, one of the best shooters in the league. Heat fans hate him just because they expected Duncan Robinson to be prime Ray Allen. He's a shooter. Let him shoot. And then Karis LeVert, great defensive mind and a playmaker. Can create his own shot as well. So losing Fontecchio, I think, automatically makes the Pistons a better team. Listen, all my Pistons fans know in this world that we gave Simone Fontecchio chance after chance after chance after chance. I want to just make a guess that he played about 70 to 75 games with the Pistons last year. Honestly, maybe even more. We gave him every chance in the world. And every time he came onto the court, he made our team worse. He couldn't hit shots, even though he was a shooter. He's talked as a shooter. He couldn't hit shots. Okay, so what else does he give you? He fouls almost every single time on defense. He's not a playmaker. He camps in the corner or drives to the lane and can't catch passes properly. So that right there, you're replacing him with Duncan Robinson, no-brainer. Dennis Schroeder, I think Karis LeVert is a great replacement. I love Dennis. I don't want to lose him, but I'll explain why losing him makes sense as the team. And then I also didn't put down Tim Hardaway Jr. I can't forget about him. But Lindy Waters III, he didn't play for us. He played in like the last game of the season. We acquired him mid-season just to like make room. Tim Hardaway Jr., we lost him to the Nuggets. That's fine. Tim, you served your role. Tim Hardaway Jr. is a great backup. He's a great backup too. Unfortunately for us, he was starting all year, so all his negatives were just standing out. He would either shoot 6 for 8 on the night from deep, or he'd shoot 0 for 8. There was no in between. There was no in between at all. So I think off the bench, Tim would have been a great spark plug for us, as well as Dennis Schroeder. But, you know, Tim, we appreciate you, man. Former Michigan alumni, as well as Duncan Robinson and Karis LeVert. Your dad being courtside at every game warmed my heart. But Tim, good luck in Denver. You know, you had some playoff moments as well that I would never forget to the day I die. as somebody that flew up to Detroit to go to both our home games, 2 out of the 3, you gave us some moments there I won't forget. So Tim, thank you for your service. But Jaden Ivey coming back, Asar Thompson having his first ever offseason as an NBA player. In case you guys don't know, his last offseason, he didn't get to practice or work on his game whatsoever because he had blood clots. He came back from those blood clots in the middle of the year. Believe it or not, him and Jaden Ivey only got to play, I believe, 15 minutes together on the court, maybe even less. I don't think we even saw the lineup of Cade, Ivey, and Asar at all last year. So let's just break this all down. Cade could make that leap to be a top 5 MVP caliber player next year. I think Cade averaged, 26, 7, and 6, I think. Maybe I'm even understating that. Jaden Ivey coming back. He was looking like a brand new player until he went out. Asar Thompson is finally having his first ever full offseason to practice his game. And then you have Tobias Harris at your 4. Now, I think that's the only position the Pistons were trying to look for this offseason, in my opinion. Tobias was excellent. I want to give Tobias Harris his flowers. When Jaden Ivey went down, so let me just say this. Tobias sucked. He sucked in the first 3 months of the season. Jaden Ivey goes down with injury, and all of a sudden, Tobias Harris is our second most valuable offensive threat. I think Tobias is a great piece for us. Obviously, I would like to replace him maybe as the starting position over the next couple of years. But I love Tobias Harris. He's got one more year on his deal. He did everything he was asked to and more last year. Shout out to you, Toby. And Jalen Duren, of course. Again, he came out and even said that he sucked and was soft for the first 3 months of the year. Suddenly improved. Jalen, I didn't believe you in the beginning of the year, man. I didn't. Honestly, I thought you were the root of all of our problems. All of a sudden, you jumped up. You believed in yourself. You were that perfect 1-2 threat with Cade. You developed some sort of midi. You developed a go-to post move. You were showing that hook shot. You were playing well. You showed us what you were capable of. I really do believe that Jalen Duren is going to get that extension. I think he's going to get that extension because his rookie contract ends next year, as well as Jaden Ivey. This is a contract year. I think by this offseason, we are going to decide whether or not, or I guess by the trade deadline, they're going to decide whether or not Jaden Ivey is extended or he's a trade piece. So this year is the most important year of Jaden Ivey's entire life. Good luck. And obviously they lost Malik Beasley. I don't think he was going to have the year that he had last year again. He should have been the leader of most 3-pointers made last year off the bench, by the way. Anthony Edwards passed him up in the last game. I think he took 16 threes that night to be sure he passed Malik. But Malik did it off the bench. He did it at a crazy, ridiculous, stupid, efficient rate. Malik, I believe in you, bro. I hope you didn't do it. I believe in you. Malik Beasley actually follows me on Twitter. So shout out to Malik. My Twitter is JZ Uncut. Again, link will be down below. I think the Pistons are going to be over. I think the Pistons could make that next big leap and win 50-something. I think the Pistons have a real chance of going to the conference finals. They really pushed the Knicks. If one play was called a foul, I could see us going up against the Indiana Pacers. I could see this team moving beyond last year if a couple things went their way. You could say if or but whatever. But yeah, hindsight is 2020. I got the Pistons over 45.5. My apologies for diving deeper than most of you guys probably even cared. But yes, I have the Detroit Pistons over 45.5 wins. This is going to be a crucial year of development for them. We are nearing the 54-minute mark of this podcast. If you're still here, shout out to you. Because we're not even halfway done. Not even halfway done. Next is the Golden State Warriors. They won 48 last year. They're predicted to win 46.5. I think I have a wrong number on the graphic. Actually, it changed. It was 46.5. It just dropped to 45.5. I hope that hasn't been the case for the majority of this podcast if you're watching on YouTube. I hope these numbers are still accurate because I did this PowerPoint for myself last week. I don't know why they would change from a week ago, but yeah, the Golden State Warriors are predicted 46.5. That's a 1.5 game decrease. I'm not going to talk much about the Warriors. Their biggest addition was Will Richard from the draft. Their biggest departures are Kevon Looney and apparently Will Richard, who was traded. I think they lost that pick a couple of years ago. Okay, so the Warriors have done nothing except lose Kevon Looney. They got Jimmy Butler last offseason. Last trade deadline. Can y'all just do me a favor? I know I just talked long about the Pistons. Can y'all just do me a favor? Go on Google, look up Golden State roster, and then look at the wins that they're predicted at 46.5. They have Steph Curry. They have Jimmy Butler. They have Draymond Green. What else? Steph, I love you, man. I just don't know. I'm taking the under. I'm 46.5. I don't know how they haven't done a single thing, but they haven't. They haven't done anything. Now, we're going from a team that did actually nothing this offseason to a team that is living the offseason dream. The Houston Rockets won 52 games last year. And they are predicted to win 55.5. That's a 3.5 game jump. Let's go through their additions. They got Kevin Durant in a 7-team trade. They got Clint Capella from the Hawks. They got Dorian Finney-Smith. They signed him from the Lakers. They also got Josh Okogie and J.D. Davison. Now, their biggest losses are Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, both going to the Suns, Cam Whitmore recently to the Wizards, and Jock Landale was waived. Okay. Now, I always say this. I made a video on Kevin Durant on my Jay-Z Uncut, on my documentary channel. It's titled The Rise and Fall of Kevin Durant. I think obtaining Kevin Durant is a no-brainer for this team. If you were able to do it, they lacked that one thing. It was offense. And now they got offense. They got one of the greatest offensive players of all time. My issue with him is when you get Kevin Durant now, you also get the rain cloud that follows him. So as far as a basketball player, it's a no-brainer. As far as a basketball move, it's a no-brainer. I'm just worried about chemistry issues, and I hope for Rockets fans, this doesn't stifle Amen Thompson's improvement whatsoever. I hope it doesn't. Their team is scary. The Rockets roster is scary. As I said, I think I got the Thunder in that tier 1, and then right below them would be the Rockets and the Nuggets. It wouldn't surprise me if the Rockets can win it all this year. I'm not going to pick them, but it will not surprise me. Not only do you get Kevin Durant's offense, but his defense is still elite into today's NBA. So good luck to the Rockets. I got y'all over 55.5. Your roster is so good. Now, I'm hoping Asar Thompson improves. I think it's a no-brainer. He's getting his first offseason to work on his game. But Amen Thompson, obviously, he's had a couple off seasons now to improve. And that's where I think a lot of people think that Amen Thompson just blows Asar out of the water. I disagree. I think they're both they're very similar. My one worry is that everyone says just wait until blank gets a jump shot. Just wait until blank tightens their handles. Typically, one of the two things happen. They either improve their jump shot or they improve their ball handling. Unfortunately, one of them never quite exceeds your expectations. If Amen gets a jump shot, gains his confidence, he's already a one confident guy. I think Amen and Asar could be both MVP candidates one day. It's way too early to tell, but I do think the Rockets are championship contenders. Maybe we'll do a video where we talk about pretenders or contenders, and we talk about that. But I am going to take the over on the Houston Rockets at 55.5 wins. I think their roster is just so strong. I think they're so strong, and I think they're going to do really, really well. I hope for their sake, though, that rain cloud gets lost somewhere else. Somewhere else. You don't want that following you. Now, up next, we have the Indiana Pacers, who won 50 games last year. They made it to the finals. They lost in Game 7. Not the only thing they lost in Game 7. They are predicted to win 38.5 games. Why the 11.5 drop? Why? Let's talk about who they gained. They got Jay Huff in a trade. They got Isaiah Jackson. They re-signed him. And they got James Wiseman. They re-signed him, as well as Cam Jones from the draft. Now, These are big losses. These are enormous losses. And I wonder if this would have been a loss if this next topic I'm going to mention happened or not. And if they won the championship, does he leave? They lost Miles Turner to the Bucks. They didn't offer him what he wanted. The Bucks needed help for Giannis. And they got Miles Turner. Long-time Pacer, longest tenure Pacer. And they lost him. And they also lost Tyrese Halliburton due to a ruptured right Achilles in Game 7. And the Pacers exec says he will miss all of next season. Pacers fans, I'm sorry. I'm just imagining if this happened to my sweet Cade Cunningham, I would be torn up. I would be torn up. This is an off year for you guys. You guys are taking the year off, probably going to make the play-in. Honestly, if you guys make the playoffs, it won't surprise me. The East is weak. Who knows? There's lots of teams that we don't know how they're going to pan out. I.e. the 76ers, for example, or the Raptors. We'll talk about them later. Honestly, I think this estimate is right on the money. 38.5. I think that's a play-in lock in the East. A couple games out of the playoffs. I think it can go either way. They got Pascal Siakam. They got TJ McConnell. They got Andrew Nembhard. I think Nembhard and what's his name? Aaron Nesmith. I think those two are going to be the biggest leaps of next year. And I think what we see out of Andrew Nembhard could be unbelievable. He could show that he is that guy, and Pacers fans should be excited about the following year. You already know what you got with Tyrese Halliburton. He's never quite relied on his agility or his speed. He's a proven playmaker and obviously a big shot maker. Big shot maker. Gave us some of the biggest highlights in NBA history. But I think Andrew Nembhard, this is his year. This is his year. It has to be. Show us that you're him. You showed us how good you were. Now show us how good you can be. And I think Nesmith as well. Unbelievable shooter. I'm excited to see his future. I'm very excited to see his future. Young kid, bro. What is he? 21? I think it might be 21. Unbelievable. This team has a bright future. They still have Siakam. They still have TJ McConnell. They still have Nembhard. They still have Nesmith. This team's gonna be fun. Pacers fans, just enjoy watching, some hard-nosed basketball next year. You guys don't have high expectations, but I think that you are still going to make the play-in, possibly the playoffs. Therefore, I'm going to take the over. I think you guys got 40 in y'all. I think Pacers got 40 in them. Siakam he just keeps improving. Every year you think Siakam's reached his peak. He just says, no. I still got some in the tank. I'm still him. And I think Nembhard is going to be their X factor this year. Can you be that guy? So, yeah, I got the Pacers over. Next team is very interesting. Very interesting. We're talking about a young, exciting team in the Pacers and their future. Let's talk about an old team. Let's talk about the oldest team in NBA history as far as average age goes. We're talking the Los Angeles Clippers. They won 50 last year. They're predicted to win 48.5. The drop-off. Why? 1.5 games? I don't think it's from anything that they did wrong. They acquired Bradley Beal. They reacquired Chris Paul. And they got John Collins in a 3-team deal. They lost Norman Powell to the Heat. They lost Amir Coffey to the Bucks. And they waived Drew Eubanks. I think the Clippers are tough. I think they're scary. I think you could talk me into moving them into that second tier. The issue is I always say this about the Clippers. Every single year, if healthy, if Kawhi, if James, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm taking the under on 48.5. They're old. I have said if too many times for this team. I'm not saying if anymore. There's not much to be said on the Clippers. I think John Collins could be explosive next year. I think Bradley Beal on the deal that they signed him to, it's going to be great. I think you're going to get real bang for your buck there. He wasn't worth what he was being paid in Phoenix. Obviously, he had the no trade clause. I think you're going to get a real bang for your buck on Bradley Beal. I think he's going to show you what he can still do. He's a proven scorer, man. He just doesn't play defense, and that's kind of the worrisome part here. What's the lineup looking like? Their guard depth has no defense. You have James Harden, you have Bradley Beal, you have Chris Paul. Lucky for them, their front court defensively is just ridiculous. I mean, we all know Zubac is insane. Honestly, Zubac is one of my favorite players in the league. I think he's the closest Jokic stopper in the NBA that we have. Now, that doesn't mean that he can stop him. That just means he can make him work harder than almost any big in the league. You know? Y'all can agree with me there, right? He definitely makes Jokic work hardest. Now, he's still dropping 30, but it's on a less efficient 30 or a more fatiguing, is that a word? Fatigued 30. So shout out Zubac. I think this team, if this happens or if that happens, they could win 50. Hell, they could win 55. This team could win the championship next year. CP3 going to his former team. James Harden turning up in the playoffs. Kawhi Leonard turning back the clock to 2019. This team could win it all. But this team could also flame out and lose in the first round. Again. Clippers fans, I don't know how you do it. Kawhi fans, I don't know how you do it. Kawhi is one of my favorite players ever. But my Lord, I can't do it anymore. No more if. Show me. Speaking of the next team, the Los Angeles Lakers. They won 50 games last year. They're expected to win 47.5. That's a 2.5 game drop off. They got Marcus Smart. They got DeAndre Ayton. They got Jake LaRavia. And they got Adu Thero from draft rights. And they also re-signed Jackson Hayes. Now, their biggest losses, this happened at the trade deadline last year, but obviously Anthony Davis. I have to mention it because he's that kind of player. And they also lost Dorian Finney-Smith to the Rockets. Guess what, though? They got Luka Doncic. They still have LeBron James. Is that 47.5 wins? I feel I'm going to say something that might be crazy, but I think the front office, especially now because they're selling the team, I think the front office is just waiting for LeBron to retire so they can truly build around Luka Doncic. Now, my issue here is I don't think players want to play in the bright lights of Los Angeles anymore. I think they know the fan base is like so scattered that they're like the less passionate fans are actually going to the games. I can't speak for them. I've never been to the crypto arena. I've never been to the Staples Center. I've never been to that arena. But from TV, arena's pretty quiet. They don't seem that into it. I think DeAndre Ayton is a great signing. My issue is I just don't think he's what Luka needs around him. Luka needs a rim running defensive big. DeAndre Ayton sort of clogs the paint. Not because he's posting up, but because he likes to pick and fade into the mid-range. Now, if he can develop a three-point shot, if he can develop a little bit more athleticism, if he can just be more in shape, I think Luka could talking in shape and Luka in the same sentence. I think Luka could push him. I think LeBron could push all of them. Marcus Smart has not been a viable role player since he was on Boston. He didn't do anything with the Grizzlies. He didn't do anything with the Wizards. Injuries. Just sitting out to tank. I think Marcus Smart could have a revitalized career right here. This is the year. If he doesn't do it this year, Marcus Smart, it's been real, my boy. I think this could be the year of Marcus Smart. I think this team could make the playoffs. I think this team, obviously with the numbers that they're at, they would make the playoffs. I think this team could make noise in the playoffs is what I'm saying. Can Luka Doncic show us, prove everybody wrong, that he's not overweight. He's not out of shape. He's obviously playing in Eurobasket right now. I don't know how he's doing. I haven't watched any Eurobasket. I have no idea how to watch Eurobasket. He looks in better shape to me. I think he's going to be on a revenge tour this year. I got the Lakers winning more than 47.5 games. I do. You have LeBron James. You have Luka Doncic. You have DeAndre Ayton and as well as Marcus Smart. You lost Dorian Finney-Smith, who I think was their steady hand. I think they were playing him at the 5 sometimes. JJ Redick was playing him at the 5. I think JJ's a great coach as well. I hate that he went and coached the Lakers because now he's going to be so heavily criticized for coaching the Lakers. If I were like a first-time coach, I'm not going to any big name. I'm going to New Orleans because it's the team's fault, not mine. I was going to say Oklahoma. They just won a championship. I'm going to Memphis, you know? But going to the Lakers, you are under such a microscope. I got them over. I think Luka, I think having LeBron, I think Marcus Smart is bound for a revitalized season. I think he's back. And I hope, for Lakers fans' sake, that DeAndre Ayton can adapt to the play styles of both LeBron and Luka. But honestly, I don't think we're going to fully see this team's ceiling until LeBron either leaves or retires. Obviously, they have Bronny. They got Bronny. It's not going to be a basketball podcast if I don't mention Bronny, right? Hopefully, he shows signs of improvement. Because, man, during the summer league, he was balling. He was playing really, really well. Shout out Bronny James, man. I hope that kid. I hope he does well. It's crazy calling these NBA athletes kid. I'm 27. I should be entering my prime right now, but I got back pain. Next team, we have the Memphis Grizzlies at 48 wins last year. They're predicted to drop to 40.5. Now, why is that? Why are the Grizzlies projected to win 7.5 less games? They got Ty Jerome. They got Jock Landale. They re-signed Santi Aldama. And they got Jame Mashak from the draft rights. They lost Desmond Bane to the Magic. Jaren Jackson Jr. also apparently has turf toe surgery. And then John Morant is also listed day-to-day on ESPN injuries page. Now, I'm sure Ja's going to be back for training camp. I'm sure Triple J is going to be back. I think they said he'd be back by training camp. We'll see. And they obviously lost Desmond Bane. Wow. They also started their new head coach. His name is slipping. I don't remember his name. But they started him off at the end of last year. They fired their last coach, I think with like 7 or 8 games left in the year. I think to try to get this new coach groomed and ready for next year. This team all depends on 2 names, Jaren Jackson Jr. and John Morant. The Grizzlies have a fun young team. They do. They were that fun young team until all these injuries and the pew 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 issues with their star player. I think this team is one injury away from shutting it all down and blowing it up. I do. I think Jaren Jackson Jr. is a great player. He doesn't get rebounds. We'll see what Zach Edey turns into. I think he could be a great big man in today's NBA. He just needs to show that he can consistently do it all. He's obviously young, so he still has a lot of time to improve. But this team revolves around one man, and one man only. His name is Ja Morant. Ja, this is the year, man. Everybody's forgot about you. They're all writing you off. This is your year. I think the offense is going to be restructured towards him as the centerpiece. I think Ja Morant this year has everything to prove. Don't get injured. Start facilitating more. But only when you have to. You are that guy. Show us that you can be that guy. I got the Grizzlies over 40.5 games in the loaded West. In the loaded West. They should be an Eastern Conference team, but that's not... Maybe one day when they add the extra teams. I got them over 40.5. The only reason I'm going over for them is because I believe Ja Morant and Triple J are really going to mesh well and do this thing together. But like I said, they're in the loaded West. Injuries happen. We'll see what happens. We'll see. Up next, we have the Miami Heat. So on the screen, it shows that they are predicted to win 39.5. That has dropped to 37.5. They won 37 last year. I don't have a lot to say about this team, man. I know they did a lot of stuff, but it was all more so meh. They got Norman Powell in a trade. They acquired Simone Fontecchio. Good riddance. They got Davion Mitchell. They re-signed him. And Kasparas Yakushionis, as well as Vladislav Golden. They lost Duncan Robinson to the Pistons. They lost Haywood Highsmith to the Nets. And they also lost Kevin Love to the Jazz, who now we don't know where he's going to be. And Kyle Anderson to the Jazz as well. Now, this team, I think they have it perfect. 37.5. I'm going to take the over. I think with Khalil Ware, I think with Andrew Wiggins, I think Norman Powell makes their team much better. I think the East is just that bad. I think they are that bad. I got the Heat going over 37.5. Plain and simple. Now, you can talk me out of it. You can tell me that they're going to make the play-in again, barely scrape into the playoffs, and get swept. I'm just not a major believer when it comes to the Miami Heat. I think Pat Riley needs to step down. You know, his resume is great, but you sort of pushed your star player out of the town. And yeah, good luck. Good luck, Miami. I don't have much to say. They really just didn't do much. They did a lot of nothing. They did a lot of nothing. With all due respect, Miami, I'm sorry. I'm going to take the over, though. I think you guys are good for 38, 39 because the East is that bad. But I will not be surprised if by the end of the year, we're talking about can they win 35 and make it into the play-in again. I genuinely believe they're going to be a play-in team. But you could talk me out of that just as easily as you can talk me into it. Up next, we have the Milwaukee Bucks. 42.5 projected. They won 48 last year. They got Miles Turner. They got Cole Anthony. They got Chris Livingston. They re-signed him. And then they also signed Amir Coffey. Now they lost Pat Connaughton to the Hornets, and they waived Damian Lillard. Oh boy. You guys can see my background if you are watching on YouTube. I have a Giannis jersey framed behind me. I love me some Giannis Antetokounmpo. Love me some Giannis. I don't love much else about this roster. I also didn't mention they in their departures, they lost Brook Lopez to the Clippers. I didn't even mention Brook Lopez to the Clippers. Damn, Brook just, I'm sure somebody probably commented you forgot Brook Lopez, but no, I didn't. I just said it a little bit later. He's going to be great in that bench role over in LA. So they got Miles Turner, and they said, all right, Giannis, are we good to run it back? They also lost Chris Middleton in the middle of the year. They got Kyle Kuzma for him. I got him over 43.5. You know why? They have Giannis. Go Google this roster for me. I don't have much to say. They didn't do anything. But just go Google this roster. I told you to go Google a couple rosters. The Warriors and now the Bucks. I got them on the over. Giannis could win you single-handedly 45 games. He could. And now you got Miles Turner, who is just basically a more athletic and younger version of Brook Lopez now. Man, go for it. Go for it. I'm rooting for the Bucks. I know they're our division rival, the Pistons division rival. But I'm a big Giannis fan. I think he could single-handedly win them 45 games. Not much else, though. In my opinion, I wanted Giannis to leave. I wanted him to leave. I think his time is up in Milwaukee. And he's raising his family there. All his friends and family are there. Yeah. I understand as a human and as a family man, as a father, as a husband, as a dad, like I said, father and dad. I understand why he doesn't want to leave, but as far as a basketball decision, I think it is time to leave. I got him on the over, though. Up next, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Minnesota Timberwolves won 49 games last year. They also made it into the conference finals for the second year in a row. They're projected to win 50.5. They got them winning a game and a half more. They extended Julius Randle. They also got Rocco Zikarisky from draft rights. Departures? None. Other than Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They lost NAW. NAW was a key component off their bench. I'll tell you why I don't think it's going to impact them that much, though. I think the Timberwolves are banking on team chemistry and reps. I think they are expecting Jaden McDaniels to take yet another leap. Jaden McDaniels was excellent last year. So much better than the year prior. Offensively, defensively, we know he's elite, but offensively is where he showed his bright spots. I think a team with Rudy Gobert at your centerpiece, it's always going to be a top defensive team. Adding Julius Randle at the 4, I like it more than Cat at this point in time. I like it more than Cat. I think we can look back and say it was a good trade for both teams. Except we'll talk about the Knicks in a bit. Obviously, with Anthony Edwards at the helm, this team could go to the conference finals again. I could see them making it into the finals if all the stars align. The unfortunate part for Minnesota fans is, what else? You lost NAW. You still have Mike Conley. I personally think they needed another point guard. That's what I thought. So unless Ant can improve his playmaking ability again, what is the ceiling of this team? Obviously, Julius Randle's going to pound the hell out of the ball. Anthony Edwards is going to dribble with the ball for 20 seconds. What is the ceiling? I wanted to see more from Minnesota this offseason. I wanted to see more. After making the conference finals 2 years in a row, coming up short 2 years in a row, I wanted to see more. As far as 50.5, I got them over. I think I got them over. Since I had the Clippers under, I think that moves the Timberwolves odds at going over. So I'm going to say the Minnesota Timberwolves are over 50.5 games. I wanted to see more, though. I'm sure you all did as well. I wanted to see more. All right, guys, we are winding down. We are almost there. Mainly because a lot of these teams at the bottom of this list, we don't have much to say. Like our next team, the New Orleans Pelicans, who won 21 games last year, and they predicted to win 30.5 this year. 9.5 increase. Why? Let me explain. Kevin, I apologize. Kevon Looney. They signed him from the Warriors, and then Jaden Springer as well. Now, Zion Williamson and CJ McCollum were both shut down late last season. They are day-to-day as well. I think they're going to be ready for training camp. They were mainly shut down, I think, just to, hey guys, don't get hurt. Let's try to get that lucrative number 1 pick. They didn't get it. So you're probably wondering, what is the increase then? I don't know. Zion Williamson being healthy. Can you guys believe Zion Williamson? He's not even 25 yet, is he? Is he 25? I feel like Zion Williamson might be 25. He feels like he's been in the league for 20 years at this point. Dude, just be healthy. Even at Zion healthy, even at CJ McCollum healthy, what is the cap of this team? What could they hope to do? Make the play-in? I got him under 30.5. I think Zion played 30 games last year? I don't know. Pelicans, I'm sorry. I got you on the under 30.5. I wish y'all luck, though. I wish y'all luck. Zion, this is your last chance, I think. I've said that about a couple players. This is your last chance. Show us to still believe in you. You were the next LeBron. Show us that we could still believe in you. Up next, we have the New York Knicks. They won 51 last year. They're predicted to win 53.5. That's 2.5 game increase. They acquired, honestly, great pieces. They got Jordan Clarkson. They also got Gershon Yabusele. And they also extended Mikal Bridges, as well as Ariel Huck-Porty as a team option. They lost PJ Tucker. He declined the option. They lost Precious Achuya. I always struggle to say his name. I just call him Precious. They waived him, I think. Anton Watson, they waived him. Marion Beauchamp, they waived him. And DeLon Wright. The Knicks are going to win more than 53.5 games. I got them on the over. My Pistons very well could have beat them. The reason I said Julius Randle, I think the Timberwolves got the better end of the deal, is because the Knicks are already shopping Karl Anthony Towns. Now, against the Pistons, he ripped our heart out by a couple lucky shots in the playoffs. Just absolutely ripped our hearts out. It just sucked the entire atmosphere out of that arena when I was there. That fadeaway off the baseline over Duran, who played great defense, and then that step back J from freaking 35 deep. But they're already shopping him. They inquired on Giannis. You know that included Karl Anthony Towns in that deal. I believe Cat's in his young 30s. Is he 31? This is the best Cat we're going to see. Can Karl Anthony Towns show that he could be a number 2? Can Jalen Brunson show that he can be that number 1? Can Jalen Brunson be an MVP candidate? I'm not sure. Now, as a Pistons fan, when we were rooting against them because we were rooting for the Pistons, I was losing my mind because of all the little head bobs that he does to foul bait. That's today's NBA. Jalen Brunson, I've seen people debate that he doesn't have a bag. He's got a bag. He's one of the best players in the league. He's one of the best basketball players in the world. And he's just taking advantage of, the officiating nowadays. I got the Knicks over 53.5. I think having OG Anunoby, having Mikal Bridges, I think they're going to utilize firing Tom Thibodeau. I think Mike Brown is really going to utilize ball movement. That's one thing Mike Brown developed as a coach. I think when he was coaching the Light the Beam team in Sacramento, I think he proved that ball movement is really his forte now. I think that they're going to try to move it around. I hope to see less of the whole Jalen Brunson dribbling out the clock for 23 seconds and jacking up a shot, even though it worked a lot of the time. I think you got to get Cat more involved. I think you got to get OG Anunoby involved. I think you got Mikal Bridges involved. These guys are too good of basketball players to just be corner camping. I think OG and Mikal should both be rotating in that dunker spot. One or the other sitting in the corner, not both of them. I think the Knicks have something to be excited about. I think next year is going to tell you where this team goes into the future. And on that note, I got them on the over on 53.5. Up next, we have the best team. Your 2-time champion. I'm calling it. The Oklahoma City Thunder. 68 wins last year. They're expected to win 62.5. Why? Why the 5.5 drop? Because they don't care about the regular season anymore. They won the title. They won the title. They They extended Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That's it. They lost nobody. They also extended, I think, Jalen Williams, as well as Chet Holmgren and J-Dub. J-Dub, Shai, and Chet, the three of them are making $750 million on their contract. I want you to hear me again. Those three players on their roster are making $750 million with all their contracts combined. Just those three. And yet they have so many great other pieces. They're the youngest team in the NBA. This team is repeating. I don't want to talk about the Thunder. I think it's boring to talk about them. I think this is going to be the first time that we see back-to-back champions. Back-to-back finals appearances. Since the Warriors back with Kevin Durant. We've had 7 different teams win championships in the last 7 years. That streak is over. I think the Thunder are going to win it again. I got them over 62.5. I think they're just that good that it's going to be very difficult for them to drop 20 games like they have them rated at. The Thunder are they're too good. Let's move on to a mediocre team taking that next big leap. The Orlando Magic won 41 games last year, and they are predicted to win 51.5 next year. It's a 10.5 game increase. Why? They got Desmond Bane from the Grizzlies. They also signed Tyus Jones. They lost KCP to the Grizzlies. They lost Cole Anthony to the Bucks. Is he still on the Bucks? I don't remember. And then 4 firsts plus 1 swap to the Grizzlies. Now, that's a lot for Desmond Bane. That's a lot for Dinosaur Arms himself. But Desmond Bane's a shooter. He's a playmaker. Most importantly, he's a three-point shooter. He's a scorer. That's all they were missing. That's it. Now, obviously, they still have Jalen Suggs. He's been injured, but I think this team needs a playmaker. Hopefully, Desmond Bane can supplement that a little bit. You know, Paolo Banchero is going to be dominating the ball for the majority of the time. I think he could take that next big leap. I think he has all the attention. As far as all the young guys around the league. Wembanyama, obviously, is going to be the most watched, but Wembanyama, Cade, Ant, the Thompson brothers, Dyson Daniels, Paolo Banchero is above all of those guys. People are going to be watching him intently, as well as Franz Wagner, as well as his brother, Mo Wagner. Not as much, but Franz Wagner. I think they extended Franz as well. Paolo Banchero is going to be the crucial component to this team. He's not an X factor. He is your superstar player. Be that superstar player. Show us what you're capable of. This is your year, Paolo. This is your year. Franz, a lot of people are doubting you, my boy. You got to lock in. Show us what you... This team was on a roll at the start of last year, if you guys remember. Then just all these injuries. All these injuries with Paolo, Franz, Mo, Suggs. Everyone was hurt. Also, that's right. Cole Anthony is not on the team anymore. I think he is one of my strongly disliked NBA players. Not for him personally. I'm sure he's a nice guy. But he dove into Jaden Ivey. And that's why Jaden Ivey was out for the majority of last year, because Cole Anthony recklessly dived at his knees. And yeah, nothing personal. I don't know the guy, but I think the Orlando Magic, this is going to be a very tough team to predict. Very tough. They got him at 51.5. I think the Magic ceiling could be the conference finals. I think it could this year. But I also have like the Cavs and Knicks and Pistons right there with them. So 51.5, I think, is steep. I think I got them right around the 45 to 48 range. So therefore, I got them on the under. But they are going to be a heavily watched team next year. I'm serious. Like, honestly, I don't think people can quite guess them accurately. They're just... There's only one team that's more confusing than them, and we still have not got to them yet. So, the Magic. I wish them luck. Up next, we have the Philadelphia 76ers. I don't want to spend time on this because you guys know the only thing I'm going to say, injuries, and more injuries. They won 24 games last year. They're predicted to win 42.5. That's a jump by 18.5. They got Kyle Lowry. They re-signed him. Trendon Watford and Quentin Grimes also re-signed. They lost Yabusele to the Knicks. And then Joel Embiid had another knee surgery in spring. He's available for training camp, still uncertain per team coverage. And Paul George also got surgery on his left knee this summer. Philly fans, I'm sorry, man. I don't have much to say. Listen, you guys missed the playoffs and play-in last year. The Pistons were up by like 40 on y'all with Joel Embiid in. On television. I don't even think Cade was playing that game either. Cade was out that game. I think this could be the biggest jump of the year. They very well could win 45. They could win 50. Hell, this team could go to the finals. But before that, Joel Embiid needs to be healthy. Paul George needs to be healthy. Tyrese Maxey needs to not carry the entire load. This team just needs to be healthy. Your ceiling is the sky. Can you guys be healthy? 42.5. I don't think you can. I got him on the under. Just nice, quick, and easy, guys. I'm telling y'all, we've been at this now for an hour and 34 minutes. I'm not going to waffle and sit here and ponder about health. That's not what I want this podcast to be. That's not what I want it to be. I wish 76ers fans good luck. And if you guys haven't read Joel Embiid's statement about what these injuries have done to him mentally, go look up what that blog writer, his name is slipping. I don't remember what his name was, but incredible piece. Had me almost tearing up for Joel Embiid, which I never thought I'd say in my life. The Phoenix Suns won 36 games last year. They're predicted to win 31.5. In fact, that recently dropped to 30.5. It's It's a 6.5 drop. They obtained Jalen Green from the Suns in that trade. They acquired Dylan Brooks from that trade. They got Mark Williams in a trade. They got Jared Butler and Jordan Goodwin. They lost Kevin Durant. They lost Bradley Beal. They lost Tyus Jones. They lost Mason Plumlee, and they lost Vasily Micic. They're predicted at 30.5. I don't have much to say about a team that missed the playoffs. I don't have much to say about a team that is being led by Devin Booker. I think, obviously, Devin Booker just got that little extension. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he wants to be a Sun for life. He's from Grand Rapids, Michigan, so maybe one day we'll see him in the Pistons, but honestly, I'd rather see him here now than later on into his career. They're going to miss the playoffs. I got him winning less than 30.5. I got him on the under. They don't have any pieces. Here's the thing. Dylan Brooks is like a guy that every team needs. He's the guy in the locker room. He's going to talk. He's going to yell. He's going to motivate everyone. He's also a great shooter. Jalen Green, we don't know what you're going to be. There was a time that you were being compared to Cade Cunningham. We're off that wave now. No, I don't think anybody is taking a Jalen Green over Cade Cunningham. Now, my biases might be showing a little bit, but that's just the honest truth. I don't want to hang on the Phoenix Suns too long. I hope you guys can surround Devin Booker with winners. He's too good of a player to be winning 30 games in a year. That should not be in the conversation of Devin Booker. I got him on the under. I think they're going to be right at 29, 28. I think they're one injury away from just tanking the rest of the year. Up next, we have the Portland Trailblazers. They won 36 games last year, which surprised a lot of the league, and they're predicted to win 34.5. That's a 3.5 game drop. Why? I'm not sure what the Trailblazers did this offseason. I don't know why. I've been rooting for the Trailblazers since they had Brandon Roy, since they had LaMarcus Aldridge, since they drafted Greg Oden. I loved Rudy Fernandez back in the day on this team. They obtained Drew Holiday from the why? They got Damian Lillard coming off of an Achilles injury. Why? They got Blake Wesley and Yang Hansen. And I think Yang Hansen is like the best addition that they did this summer from the draft. What are you guys doing? What are we doing? You traded Anthony Simons, okay, because you think Shaedon Sharpe is going to be your guy. Fine, I'm not going to argue that. But you also acquired Damian Lillard off a torn left Achilles that he just had surgery in May. He's not going to play next year. Who knows what kind of player he's going to be? He's like 35 years old coming off an Achilles injury. To add salt in the wound, I apologize, Portland fans. Because them getting Damian Lillard and allocating that cap space for him, that's tough. You know why they did it, right? Isn't the team for sale right now? They got to pack the arena. They got to bring some sort of noise to this team. They have to. And I thought they showed so much improvement last year, especially with Chauncey Billups at the helm. I don't understand the pickups with the Drew Holiday and the Damian Lillard. Obviously, Dame's not going to play next year, but why did... It's just... Maybe I'm dumb. Maybe this is all part of their master plan and they're going to flip Drew Holiday. If I have any Portland fans listening, please explain to me. Young Hansen looks like he's going to be a fun player. He doesn't play defense. But wishing him well. 33.5. They still have Jeremy Grant. I think I got him over. No, do I? That means I have them over the Suns. Do I have them over the Suns? I don't have them over the Suns. I got them under 33.5. I'm sorry, Portland, but honestly, you should be apologizing to your fan base because what are you doing? Speaking of a fan base that just perplexes me, I'm not going to talk about this long. The Sacramento Kings, they won 40 games last year. They're predicted to win 35.5. That's a 4.5 game drop. They acquired Dennis Schroeder from the Pistons. They acquired Dario Saric from the Nuggets, I believe, and they got Doug McDermott re-signed. Their departures? None. They have Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, because that worked so well in Chicago. You got Dennis Schroeder. You got Malik Monk. You're still trying to get Kuminga from the Warriors. You still have Domantas Sabonis, who's not touching the ball anymore, and you lost De'Aaron Fox last trade deadline. The ownership of this league, like the ownership of this team, Adam Silver should walk into his office and take the deed to the Kings. Why do you want to stay in mediocrity forever? You guys had that year. I might make a video on the Sacramento Kings team on my Jay-Z Uncut channel. Make sure you guys go sub there if you're still listening. The Jay-Z Uncut on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter, everywhere. That's the main channel. We pump a lot of effort into those videos. This team is the Chicago Bulls of the West. I don't understand what they're doing. They just want to hang in mediocrity to sell tickets. That's all. That's all this owner's goal is. Obviously, we know this is a business, blah, 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 blah. But you are doing such a disservice to your fans. You didn't need a Dennis Schroeder. You needed a pass first point guard, and you went and got Dennis Schroeder? As somebody who watched Dennis Schroeder for half a year last year, and almost every year with every team he's been, he demands the ball. He wants to shoot. You know who else wants to shoot? Domantas Sabonis. You know who else? Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Malik Monk. I'm done talking about this team. I got him on the under. I want to see them fail so that they can blow it up, because they mistreat all their star players. They had Halliburton. They had DeMarcus Cousins. They had De'Aaron Fox. They have Domantas Sabonis. They have Malik Monk. They have Zach LaVine. They have Bring back white chocolate. Bring him back. Peja Stojakovic, bring him back. Up next, we have a fun team to talk about. The San Antonio Spurs. There's not much to talk about just because of how last year transpired. They won 34 games. They're projected to win 43.5. That's a 9.5 jump. Pretty obvious why, but they got Kelly Olynyk from a trade. They got Lindy Waters. They signed him, and they also signed Luke Cornett. They didn't lose anybody, right? Anybody of value, at least. Yeah, they still have all their young pieces. They have the rookie of the year in Stephon Castle. They have Devin Vassell, who I think is less important on the totem pole. They have Keldon Johnson, who was torching the Pistons last season in a regular season game. And you have the man, the myth, the legend, Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wet Banana. Unbelievable player. Unbelievable talent. There's not a whole lot to say on this topic just because we expect them to improve, right? They also have De'Aaron Fox that they got. I don't know if De'Aaron Fox is going to be... How dare I forget to mention Dylan Harper? I don't know how long De'Aaron Fox is going to be there. Obtaining, like, any team would have drafted Dylan Harper if given the opportunity where they were at. So, like, I don't blame them for drafting another guard. My only issue is like, where does that leave De'Aaron Fox? I don't think he's going to be the long-term point guard. I think De'Aaron Fox is going to be like the stepping stone for Dylan Harper. That's what I think. I think De'Aaron Fox is going to play really well alongside Victor Wembanyama. I think Victor Wembanyama coming back from his blood clots is going to be great for the team. I think this summer we've seen him and what he's been doing. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to watch this team. 43.5, what I believe put them in the play-in out west, right? I want to see them make the playoffs. I got the over. I think Wemby is going to have a huge leap. I think having De'Aaron Fox for an actual full season with him is going to help tremendously. Dylan Harper, Keldon Johnson, Luke Cornett, Vassell. This team is exciting. Did I not mention what's his name? I don't remember his name. He's got the cool hair. No, I did mention him, Vassell. No, Sohan. That's who I was thinking of. Sohan. This team is great. This team's great. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the San Antonio Spurs can do. I am. Guys, we only have 3 teams left. And this was a team that I was hinting at that is going to be critiqued the most, I think, in the NBA, other than the Orlando Magic, and that is the Toronto Raptors. They won 30 games last year, and they're projected to win 37.5. 7.5 win jump. They extended Jakob Poeltl, and they also signed Sandro. I know everybody calls him Mamu. Mamu Kelishvili. Mamu. And they lost Chris Boucher. This team is so confusing. They extended Brandon Ingram, and he hasn't even played a game for them yet. They got him from the Pelicans last deadline, and he hasn't even played a game for them yet, and they extended him. They have Scotty Barnes, who they also extended. They have Jakob Poeltl. They have RJ Barrett. They obviously lost Chris Boucher. They have such an expensive team. And what have they done? What have they done? Like, I'm genuinely asking you. They have Grady Dick. They have Emmanuel Quickly. I just don't know what to expect out of this team. They are so expensive, and they've proven nothing. I think Scotty Barnes needs to take that next big leap. I think he needs to take that big leap. I think they need to see Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes. They just have so many guys playing relatively the same position. Not on paper, but relatively on the court, the same position. I wish them luck. I really hope the Raptors improve. As far as 37.5 games, I think they have to get that, right? I know they're projected at 37.5, and that's because nobody can, like, that's a safe line for them. 37.5, that's a safe line. You just don't, like, they should win more than that. They should be in the 40s, especially with how weak the East is. I've said that 100 times this podcast, but they should. I got them over. I got the Raptors over. I wish the Raptors fans good luck. I wish them good luck as a franchise. You know, that ring in 2019, I'll never forget it. Unbelievable. Let's move on as we're winding down to our final two teams that aren't going to take a lot of time either. The Utah Jazz won 17 games last year. They won 17. They didn't win the lottery because of the whole trust the process arc. They're projected to win 18.5. Now, as a Jazz fan, what do you do with that? What do you do? They got Gorgie Niang. They got Kevin Love, who I believe they already waived. And they got Kyle Anderson. They lost RJ Lewis Jr. to the Celtics. I have to say this again. They won 17 games last year. They're projected to win 18.5. I think Collier is going to improve. I think Markkanen is at the best he's going to be. They got Kyle Filipowski. He's fun. What else does this team have? I don't, 18.5, man. I don't know. I almost want to take the over, hoping that Kyle Filipowski's like summer league kind of translates to the regular season. I'm going to take the over. I believe in the Utah Jazz. I think y'all got 19 in you. Maybe 20. I believe in them. Javs fans, I'm talking to y'all, man. Like, I think y'all will get 19 or 20. Shout out the Jazz, man. Shout out whatever y'all are doing out there. Up last, we have the Washington Wizards. Another East team. Another team that is projected. Okay, let me not get ahead of myself. 18 wins last year. They won 18 games last year. They are projected to win 21.5. They acquired Cam Whitmore, but they've also lost Bilal Coulibaly due to a hamstring injury for 4 to 6 weeks. Now, whether that impacts the start of the season, he might miss part of training camp, but he'll be back. I think the Wizards are a team that a lot of people are overlooking. I think they have a good young core. I'm surprised that not many people have been talking about the Wizards. Instead, they've been talking about John Wall announcing his retirement when he's basically been retired for the last 3-4 years, 5 years. Let's be honest. I think they have a great young core, and I think Cam Whitmore is going to be a very interesting piece for them. Can you do more than shoot? Can you do more than score? I think Alex Sarr is going to have a big leap this year. I hope they are. I have a feeling as well that this is going to be a huge developmental. Is that a word? I think they're going to improve a lot next year. I think all their young guys are going to be improving a little bit, and that's going to culminate into some wins. More than 21.5 for sure. Right. They got some hoopers. And they don't have Kyle Kuzma anymore. That helps. They don't have Jordan Poole either. I didn't talk about Jordan Poole going to the Pelicans. My apologies. My apologies. I doesn't really change what I thought, but they got Jordan Poole now. Pool party, baby. 21 and a half wins. I think I got him over 21 and a half. Again, the East is horrible. So I got him over 21 and a half. I think I do. Now, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, that is almost a 2-hour podcast for our first one. Come on. Come on. Let me know any other players I forgot. I feel like I forgot those two, and then I went back and remembered that Brook Lopez went to the Clippers and Jordan Poole went to the Pelicans. But if there are more players, let me know. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. If you guys are still listening, I've been streaming on Twitch. Again, that's Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch for 5 years now. And I've always wanted to do a podcast. At first, I started a podcast, and it was about gaming. It didn't work out. I just got busy. But now that my whole brand is basketball, I'm going to be streaming NBA 2K on Twitch Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. Eastern. And then the podcast, when the season starts, is going to be, I think 9 a.m. Eastern starts. Wow, we really just mowed through this whole thing, huh? I hope you guys enjoyed. If you made it to the end, be sure to drop a like. Leave a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Music or Apple Podcasts. I think we killed it for our very first one. I appreciate y'all for listening. Again, be sure to subscribe to our main YouTube channel. All the links, as far as like the Discord for my community, my main YouTube channel, Jay-Z Uncut, my Twitch stream, all of the links, Discord, Twitter, will all be down below. I don't know where it goes on Apple and Spotify, maybe in the bios. So try the bios. Okay. For now, this podcast is sponsored by nobody. So if you guys would like to input your little sponsorships, be sure to send them my way, jzuncut@gmail.com. As well as questions or comments or concerns. I want to do some mailbox episodes as we continue moving forward and building a brand and building a community here. Jay-Z Courtside's brand new. Jay-Z Uncut, it's been alive for about 5 months now. So I hope you guys, I don't think that was that bad for my first podcast. Holler at me, give me some advice. Follow me on Twitter, subscribe to the main YouTube channel, Jay-Z Uncut. Follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Follow me on Twitch. Join the Discord. All those links, you know where to find them. We'll have an intro screen and an outro screen in the next one. But for now, y'all, thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And as always, guys, thanks for watching and listening. Have a blessed day. I'll see you in the next one.